Free Japan Channel number 80. Today, May 29th, Thursday, here in Mimasaka, Okayama Prefecture. FCC is usually broadcast from Yokohama. However, today, I'm in Mimasaka, Okayama Prefecture, and this broadcasting is also conducted here. Here is mountainous area and very beautiful season in the year, May, at the end of the May. Dear friend, how are you doing? I'm now enjoying the green scene of Mimasaka City here every day. Today's topic is the abduction of Japanese people by North Korean agent. This is the topic of today's FGC. Very heavy topic for Japanese people. So I can't talk about it so lightly. But this is a topic which should be discussed seriously among Japanese people. And this abduction should be informed, should be informed to all over the world. The abduction was conducted by North Korean agents. It was 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Therefore, 25 or 30 years lasted. During this time, reportedly, more than 1,000, at least several hundred Japanese people were kidnapped by North Korean agents here in Japan, and they were carried away to the North Korea, never to return to Japan. In 1970s, the relationship between Korea and Japan was virtually nothing. The diplomatic relationship was not there. And even now, there is no official diplomatic talk between these two countries, Japan and North Korea. As you know, Japan has a constitution, so-called peace constitution, which declared that Japan has officially no armament from Navy to Army, including Air Force, should not be kept in Japanese territory. Of course, this is a very unrealistic declaration of Japanese constitution. Therefore, to deal with reality, Japan has now self-defense force. Self-defense force is not army nor navy. It is only for protection. This is the present situation of Japanese defense policy. In the 1970s, North Korea took advantage of this vulnerable Japanese situation that Japan could not do anything about the abduction of its own people by the foreign agents. Normally, the abduction of people by foreign agents, so systematic abduction, is a sufficient reason for the declaration of war, normally. But the North Korean leaders at that time knew very well that Japan could nothing because of the binding of Japanese constitution. Therefore, they could so easily abducted Japanese people, mainly in the cities of Japan Sea area, Niigata, for example. Megumi Yokota, she was junior high school student, and she was on the way home from school. She belonged to badminton club, and after the club activity, she was on the way home. And on the way, she was kidnapped by the agent, and she was taken into a small ship, and this ship carried her to North Korea, and she never returned. North Korea said to Japanese government that Megumi was already dead. This information was 2002, therefore 23 years ago. However, the evidence of this North Korean information was a kind of bone, which is called Megumi's bone. But here in Japan, this bone was investigated by the medical research institution, and cross-examination revealed that the DNA didn't coincide with that of Megumi. So this bone was totally fake, forgery. In this way, the attitude of North Korea is so dishonest, is so lack of sincerity. Of course they are so dishonest because they did bad things. They knew very well about it. The kidnapping of Japanese people forcibly. Japanese government knew that this abduction was carried out by the North Korean agent here in Japan. So as early as in 1970s, Japanese government knew that, perhaps, because there were so many cases that suddenly Japanese people disappeared, especially young people disappeared without any explicit reason to run away from the home. Japanese government couldn't negotiate effectively about this issue because of the constitution. And North Korea is a country which is so strategic in diplomacy. Therefore, for North Korean government, this abduction issue is also one of the diplomatic cards which they could utilize dealing with Japan. Some people say that Japanese constitution is a basic reason that Japanese government couldn't return these people from North Korea. Or originally, the North Korea couldn't have abducted so many Japanese people under the other constitution. Because of the peace constitution, the agents of North Korea could so easily and without any hesitation, they could be committed to such cruel deeds against young people. Sometimes junior high school students like Megumi, others 20 the people in 20s, for example, there were practically no old people, for example, 40s, 50s. No, they aimed at young people. This is so cruel for the people abducted, as well as the family which was left. The mother of Megumi was so frantic about the whereabouts of her daughter, and she searched almost everywhere in Niigata prefecture because Megumi was abducted in Niigata city, but there was nothing found. Of course, nothing, because Megumi was already carried to the North Korea. The reason for this abduction on the side of North Korea is still obscure. Why did they kidnap so many people from Japan? They knew very well that this could cause the diplomatic conflict between these countries, or they may have done it in order to cause this kind of conflict with Japan. North Korea is a very complicated country, and North Korea is a fascist or totalitarian country. The rigid social structure is determined from birth of every people. So, in a sense, a kind of feudalism is still there in North Korea. On the top of the hierarchy is Kim Jong-un, and then his family, and then some descendants of revolutionary soldiers, so-called revolutionary soldiers. The descendants of these soldiers are also in the high-ranking status in North Korea. And when you are born in the lower status, then you never go up the social ladder of North Korean society. And the economy is so stagnated because of the dogmatic economic management of North Korean government. The difference of economic power between North Korea and South Korea is so clear that South Korea's GDP, for example, is already more than 20 times that of North Korea. However, North Korea always maintained this social system there. The outsiders, including us, cannot do anything about it. Only North Korean people can change this, and they can't change because of the severe surveillance and concentration camp can be found in North Korea. Therefore, the people who are opposed to this system are sent to these camps never to return. The abduction of Japanese people by North Korean agents, this is now becoming history, which means young people don't know anything about this abduction here in Japan. Time passing erodes the fact of kidnapping by the North Korea. I think this is a very regrettable phenomenon here in Japan. We should now make an effort to inform this this brutal deeds of North Korea as widely as possible here in Japan. If this broadcasting can be helpful in this aspect, I would be very glad. Thank you.